Hi, I'm Steve from PermaJet, and today I'm going to be talking about the features and benefits of the black and white modes that we have in many modern Pro printers. So today, one of the printers that we're going to refer to in this video is the Canon PRO-300, flagship printer from Canon, which has 10 inks, but also has grey inks included, and that grey ink will be best used by enabling the black and white print mode. What it will give you is better detail in the black and white end result, over and above using a ICC profile. If you use an ICC profile, that's absolutely fine. A lot of people do for their monochrome printing. However, it will possibly put a tonal cast over the image, which just sort of doesn't give it that nice crisp neutrality that you're looking for with your black and white. We'll take the opportunity today to use the Canon PRO-300 to print on the PermaJet FB matte baryta paper to demonstrate to you what can be achieved by using the advanced black and white mode or using a standard ICC color profile. And those differences will then become apparent that maybe you can experiment too with those settings and see whether you prefer one or the other. So here with the FB matte, we've taken the opportunity to print a particular image that really tests the grayscale of your printer and goes right through the tonal range to go from a white point through to a heavy black. These are great images for you to do your test with, because this will clearly demonstrate the advantages of using the black and white mode. On this particular image here, this is with the ICC profile, and this is the one using the advanced black and white mode of the Canon printer. When you compare, they may look like apparently in isolation they may look absolutely fine, but when you do an actual inspection closely, you start to see the neutrality of the one using more of the grey inks. That advanced mode is telling the printer to use the grey inks within the printer to better use, rather than using with the profile side, mixing colours to create the same shades. This is where the advantage really kicks in. So you can see on the profile image, we do have a little bit of warmth in the image, which you may or may not want. You will also see, when we do look really closely, you will actually see in a lot of shadow areas and a bit more detail than you would normally with a profile potentially, and also a bit more clarity and detail in where these really high detailed areas will normally look more sharp and more in keeping with what you would expect from a good black and white image. You can clearly see that there is a warmth in this one in the mountain area, and a much cooler, more neutral reflection of the detail in this image, which uses the advanced black and white. Obviously, with the color profile, there is more warmth in the image. However, if you're looking for that sepia tone or selenium look, and you want to get that out of your image as well, rather than just having a pure neutral monochrome, then you can apply in the advanced black and white mode a toning wheel. There is a little thing that we'll show you shortly, and that you can apply a cast purposely, but you're in control of it to whatever degree you want to apply. When you use the ICC profile, you get what you get, and unfortunately that is the nature of the way a profile will react. So if we begin just by going through the settings you need, we're going to use Photoshop as an example on a Mac initially, and we're going to use the Canon PRO-300 printer to print to. So we're just going to run through the settings that you need to get ready to send the print job correctly. So as we're not going to be doing this as a color image, you can convert the image to monochrome, get it how you want it to look on the screen. Obviously, if your screen's calibrated, that would be a real advantage because it will give you a good idea how it's going to come out. But the good news about these settings in your printer that the manufacturers are built in is that you can actually leave the image as color and it will convert it for you. But I guess most of you will want to have a preview of how the monochrome print may look. So we'll assume that you've done this and made it ready. And we will then run into going to File and Print. And as you can see, we have the Canon Pro Series Printer 300 selected already, which is this as a standard A4. The key thing here is the color management section is still going to be involved in this. So the color handling, normally, if you were doing color imagery, we would be telling you to use Photoshop Manages Colors, choose your profile and carry on in that way. However, to use the black and white mode, you need to select Printer Manages Colors. So we're going to do this slightly differently. Perceptual can still be your rendering intent, that's fine. And when you then jump into the printer's settings, you again will be used to doing this with color profiles, but there is one extra thing you have to do to get the monochrome mode to enable properly. So in your Mac, you have these various feature settings for the Pro-300. These should look familiar. If you're on Ventura, they may be more drop-down menus with arrows that you need to open up, but they give you the similar options. So the first thing you need to do is go into the color matching option. This is where, by default, because we've said Printer Manages Colors, the Mac has said, okay, you want the printer to do everything. I'm going to use Color Sync, which is the Mac color management, to take control. No, we don't. On this occasion, we need to switch on the Canon control. So Canon color matching. The same would be true on Epson. If you had an Epson printer attached, you would still do the same thing and it would say Epson color matching. So that's the first thing you have to do. You would then go into your quality and media, and you would set all the same settings that you would usually use for this paper type, whatever you've chosen, whether it's one of the Brights we mentioned earlier, or just any other paper. Just ensure that the media type you're using matches that kind of paper, and obviously the feed source and the print quality. So something we say regularly to people: don't just go highest. That's a bit hit and miss, because all that is doing is it's linked to the media type set by Canon or Epson here, and they may set it to lower levels of highest. So we always suggest going to custom, move this slider to the fourth level along on the fine scale, the fast to fine. It's this fourth marker along, and that is going to give you photo quality 1440 dpi, which is what we're looking for. And you must then switch on the Canon, you tick this box here, black and white photo print. On Epson, there is a drop down in color mode that says color or advanced black and white. You would select advanced black and white to do the same thing. Once that is switched on, the last place to go is in your color options. Now in color options, because we've ticked this black and white box down here, this looks now slightly different to what it would have been. And suddenly we've got a tonal black and white option and all sorts of extras that are usually hidden away from you, because it presumes you're just doing color imagery. But now we've told the printer we are going to do black and white. It's now given me all the controls you would be used to wanting for good management of your print. So we have brightness control, we have contrast, and we've got this strange looking block with all these colors in. This is actually what I always describe it as a toning wheel, but it used to be, it's circular on a Epson, but on Canon it's rectangular. But you can move this thing around. So basically, as you go towards the color spectrum around this, you're basically toning the image. So although you've told it to use gray inks, it still can use colors by moving this slider and say, I want to go to a cyanotype, or go into the blue areas, or go into the red areas or the green areas. So by doing that, you're just adding some color involvement in the printer when it does its final print. As I said before, black and white, there is no right or wrong. It's in the eye of the beholder. So there's a bit of trial and error with anything like this, because of course, you don't really get a realistic preview of what is going to come out. So if you're aiming to get just a standard neutral black and white, you'll see here we have these options under the toning box. You would just go for, I want a neutral black and white, so I click black and white. That puts this wheel in the center and is going to give you pretty much what you see on the screen to what it should print as. If you wanted to experiment a little bit more, you can go into cooler, bluer tones and it will move this over to where it thinks you want to be. And the same with warm tone. If you want to warm it up, get a bit sepia or selenium directions, then again, these are quick tracks to doing that. However, as usual, we refer back to this. It's your choice how you want the image. Those are just starting points to point you in the right direction. Use custom if you want to take full control and you move it where you want it to be. And you may have to do a test print with the settings and then redo it and just tweak the custom control wheel. If you find that using the neutral, you just want neutral and that comes out absolutely neutral, absolutely fine. Don't need to do it again. And that's basically the settings that you need to now send this to printing. So we click save and we go into the printing mode straight away now. So now we're going to look at using the same settings on a Windows PC. So again, we've got Photoshop open, the same image we've now opened in the PC version. And we're still using the Canon PRO-300 printer. So again, we come into the file and print menus. And when we jump in here, we need to set printer manages the colors. And you'll see that grays out the print profile, because now it knows we're not needing to use a color profile. We then jump into the print settings with a little bit of a pause, and into I always like to go into the main tab area myself, as it gives it all in sequence. So on here, again, you're setting your media type to the type of paper that you're going to print this image on, and the paper source. Again, we're going back to print quality. As I said, don't always use highest. It's not always what you think. So if you jump into custom and set, and on the PC version, it's got it the other way around, but basically you're setting it to level 2 at the finest end. So the 4th notch along, that would give you 1440 DPI. So we click that. The color and intensity, it might default to auto on your machine when you first open this, but we want manual. We click on set. You must go into the matching option, and if you've been using profiles previously, you will always have been told on a PC to select none, so that makes the printer not interfere with your profiles. But on this occasion, we want to change it to driver matching and OK that, and then we can tick the black and white photo print box. Now, because I've now ticked this, when I go back into this set box, we're not seeing color image anymore. We're now into the hidden away black and white photo mode, which is hidden in your driver. And because we've set it all up now to open, everything is there clearly. And we can set the tone. If you want a neutral black and white, just select literally just black and white. If you want to have a starting point where you have a slightly cooler image, then you can set that to cool, and if you want a warmer image, you set that to warm. But in here we have this what I call the wheel of color control, but this can be used for toning. So it knows we want a black and white image, and you will move this in any direction towards blue, magenta, green, brown. If you want to do selenium, etc., and sepia, you can control that. But I would suggest that you do that with experimentation, because obviously, as I said before, black and white is in the eye of the beholder. So whatever you want it to be, you need to probably do a couple of tests and get it to where you want it to be. So I'm going to just go with a neutral black and white on this occasion, which centers the toning wheel. And you have other controls here for your brightness and contrast to just do those little tweaks that you feel might be necessary. But again, you're going to have to do an initial print to make that comparison with anything else needs to be changed. And then we just click OK, and that will be stored. And we're ready to go to print. So we would just click OK and into our print option here. If you are an avid monochrome printer, Hopefully today what we're telling you will enable you to try new things, maybe on the printer you didn't know this mode existed, and get better results than you maybe have had previously. To complement that, obviously the paper that you use is paramount to the end result. And as you probably know, PermaJet, we manufacture a whole range of papers covering all aspects of needs out there. But the primary paper range that monochrome workers may want to take a look at is our fibre-based range. Fibre-based range is really based upon a range of papers that were based upon the darkroom days of fibre, heavy grade, sort of semi-gloss and nice matte surfaces, but with some real nice feel to them. But the other advantage of the darkroom days was that you would get really deep, heavy blacks, a good DMAX in the image, which would then possibly enhance the whole black and white end result. This paper range is emulating that. So you have a digital form now of inkjet paper in various surfaces and weights that we offer. And by using this range, rather than your everyday media, you should be able to achieve the deepest DMAX and the widest tonal ranges. And the structure of a fibre-based baryta paper, it's also known as, is generally containing a barium sulfate layer. That layer is what enhances the blacks, and the ink sits nicely on it and brings the depth out of your image. So if you've never tried baryta paper before, a fibre-based paper, then do take a look at our test pack. We do a test pack 2, which is our FB baryta range, and you'll be able to try each of those papers yourself on your printer using some of the settings and so on we've shown you today. You may well be amazed at the results you get, and hopefully we can improve your printing. So thanks for listening today, and if there are any questions or you have anything technical you wish to ask us, you are always welcome to call PermaJet at any day, Monday to Friday, and our technical team will be pleased to help.